Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me. Oh, look at us, we're outside. I'm gonna get some footage for you of this little butterfly garden that we're building. They're just like pots from the nursery right now, but it's really lovely. Butterflies keep coming over and flying around it, so we're really excited that the mission accomplished. We're attracting butterflies here. I don't think I've ever been able to create a video outside at my own house. I think I've tried a couple times at least, or at least once in Staten Island when I was living there, but the neighborhood that I'm in is so quiet and I have a little porch, and so I figured, because I'm late on getting this to you, thank you for your patience, by the way. Moving, I don't mean to be dramatic, but I think I have trauma from moving, and I know I'm sorry for like throwing that word around, but the reason I say that is because since we've moved, I have had recurring, almost nightly, recurring dreams of having to move again, of, oh no, like we only moved next door and now we have to move to like a different location, and we're looking for places, and no, we have to get the movers to come again. No, you have to do it all again. It's like, it was so stressful and it was so bad. It was one of the worst experiences. Like, I'm glad to be here, but the actual moving process was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I was talking to my friend Cho, and he's like, yeah, I think that's one of the 7 layers of hell. You just keep moving. So yeah, that's how I feel. So we're already here. It's February 18th at the time that I'm recording this, and I hope I can get this to you today. And this is the last day of Aquarius season, and what I'm creating for you here, you can probably tell by the title, is the Aquarius season card reading. I'm doing 2 different card readings. One I'm going to share in the public YouTube community, and one I will share exclusively for Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you so much, Patreon, YouTube members. I'm catching up. I have my list. I'm catching up. Long Firm is coming this weekend. Like, I'm catching up. Thank you again so much for your patience. I'm a little stiff today as well because my neck had been getting a lot better. It got really bad during moving, like so bad. It was such a nightmare. And like putting stuff away for weeks. It's been feeling a lot better, but last night I slept oddly, or I don't know, something happened and I'm like super stiff right now. So if I'm moving weird, like, forgive me. So happy birthday, Aquarius. Thank you so very much for your patience, and thank you for being you. Thank you for being so original. Thank you for lending such interesting perspectives and necessary perspectives. Thank you for all the like camaraderie. I feel like the Aquarius people that I know are so like just helpful, like willing to help always. I remember being in the subway specifically with a close Aquarius friend, and he's like the first person to like notice someone struggling to carry a suitcase up the stairs, or struggling to carry this plus their stroller, and they'll run it up. Like, there's just a very helpful energy to Aquarius people, and I think that we may have found that through the season. The card readings I want to do today, because I'm at the very last day of Aquarius season, again, I apologize for that, it's more of a reflection. It's more of a like alchemical process. What can we take from the last few weeks, the last like 3 or 4 weeks? So whenever you're watching this, I don't want it to be very time restrictive. Whenever you're watching this, potentially, I hope that there's some messages here for you, some validations or some highlights for you to be able to reflect on, like what's been happening, and how can you use that, or how can you like compartmentalize that? How can we go on from here potentially, right? So it's a little different. And then of course we'll be in Pisces season, and I will not delay on the Pisces season videos. Again, thank you so much. I think that in Aquarius season, potentially you may have experienced some rigidity, some reluctance to change, you know, and I certainly can relate to that. As much as I wanted to move and knew that it was necessary, I really felt like a whining baby about it in my heart, in my soul. Like I didn't want to do it. I felt very like just reluctant. Like there was just elements of it where I just didn't want the change. It was just so much. So maybe that's something that you've experienced too, this difficulty, this discomfort, this challenge with changes that have been maybe coming for you or that you have recently experienced. So yeah, happy birthday, Aquarius. Love you so much. For everyone though, I would love to encourage you to reflect on your natal chart if you're open to something like that. Reflect on where you have Aquarius in your chart, perhaps where you have Uranus in your chart and where you have Saturn. Aquarius sort of has like two rulers, I guess you could say, Saturn being the old ruler and Uranus being like more of the modern interpretation or association to it. And it's the water bearer, it's the star, you know, it is unique, it is creative, it is about community and friendships and fostering those. So maybe those are some things that you can reflect on in what has been. And again, when it goes to your natal chart, for example, I have my sun and my north node in the house of Aquarius. So I'd also encourage you to look like, what do you have in the house of Aquarius? And I don't think I have anything in Aquarius. I can't think about it right now, actually. Maybe I do. But yeah, look like where those placements are, and maybe they'll just be something to reveal and, you know, learn more about. There's the guava in the tree. Learn more about the natal chart that way. You know, I like to take it in bites and seasonal. So the decks that we're using today, I'm actually not using the Symbolon deck. I'm going to be using this Trust Your Vibes deck by Sonia Choquette. It's a really beautiful book, and this is a card deck to go with it, I guess you could say. It's a big iguana. What's he doing, Choco? And then here's my little butterfly thing that we're going to figure out what to do with. Very cute. And here's Shoko. Shashi, Shashi, Shashi. All right, hope that noise in the back doesn't bother you. I think this mic won't pick it up too badly. So yeah, this is the first deck we're going to be using, the Trust Your Vibes deck. We're also going to be using, to throw a little Leo energy in there, the Cosmic Tarot and the Mystic Mondays Tarot deck. All right, so the first reading is going to be the public one, and then if you like this and you'd like to support the channel, thank you so much. Patreon or YouTube members is a great way to support the channel, so thank you. All right, so I'm just going to set an intention on behalf of the highest and greatest good and perfect comfort, perfect alignment. My intention is to support you through beyond time and space, wherever you may be, and serve as some sort of channel, as in my interpretation of the cards, to provide you with potentially some validation, again, some like catalytic words or scenarios or examples, so that you can kind of tune in to reflect on how you might go about like extracting the gold extracting the gold from the past few weeks, the last season, you know, what's been going on in your life more currently. All right, so let's get into it. The cards I pulled for you are Expect the Best and Take Your Time. Actually, Take Your Time came out first. I'm going to read you right from the book, because I think that with an oracle deck, it's important to hear the creator's perspective. All right, so this is called Take Your Time. Slow down and take your time. There's no rush right now to make decisions. You can't feel your vibes, let alone trust them, if you're overbooked, juggling too many things at once, constantly playing catch up, or racing around like crazy. Being that hurried will not only dim your awareness to nothing more than a swirling gray fog of confusion, but you'll also miss the subtle, intuitive guidance of your soul. The pace you're keeping is caused by the fear that there isn't enough time left. So cool it. When it comes to the soul, there's enough for everyone and everything, including time. You're being guided to allow time to work in your favor. Assume a more leisurely rhythm and trust and actually stretch time. The elements necessary for your success aren't fully present yet, but they're coming together behind the scenes. Wait a little longer until more become evident. You'll be glad you did. Trust your vibes to wait patiently for the right moment to make a decision, and don't let anyone pressure you to do otherwise. All right, and then number 21, which is expect the best. You're being advised by your higher self and guides to start each day expecting divine guidance to direct, support, and happily surprise you. By entering a state of expectation, you create a vacuum in your vibration. The universe doesn't tolerate a vacuum, so it will seek to fill it with exactly what you expect. If you expect struggle, you attract struggle. If you expect guidance, synchronicity, and celestial gifts, you attract that as well. Your guides are advising you to shift your awareness to positive expectation, which acts like a magnet and attracts all you need when you need it. It creates a powerful vibration that will be felt and answered by your guides immediately. Take the risk and expect good vibes. They will show up. Okay. So perhaps in the past few weeks or there's ducks here too. In the past few weeks, in the past last season of your life, right? That doesn't have to be just a few weeks, and it doesn't have to be a month, and it doesn't have to be a whole season. This might have been a year. This may have been the last week, right? So it's not really about putting time markers too tightly on this, but you know what your last chapter was about, you know what the last or the current or the recent theme that has been sort of unfolding in your life. For me, it was the transition from living in one area to a new area, right? That was the thing. That was what my life sort of revolved around, in a sense, I guess you could say, or really took over. So you know what that is for you. You know what you've been working towards, what you've been focused on. That might be, health stuff that comes up. That might be some needs that your family has, some priorities. It might be that you're trying to get into a certain school, or you're trying to finish a course, right? There's who knows what, but whatever it's been for you, perhaps reflecting on it, you may have been wanting to rush. And it's funny, I said about reluctance to change, but wanting it to just be over with, wanting it to just be on the other side of it. If everybody could have just moved for me and I just got to plop down without any boxes or garbage or, issues of how to get rid of certain stuff or new stuff that I need because it doesn't fit in my house anymore, right? If I could just be on the other side of it, that would have been great. But that's not how it works, right? You kind of have to go through the tedious side of things, or the challenges of it. We really have to experience it all. But I think there's also a message here, obviously. I shouldn't say I think. Let me call to our attention the message here of really trusting that everything is going to work out, and expecting that you're going to love it once you get on the other side, or that, the health issues are going to resolve, or, the time that your family needs you right now, that will fall into place and you'll get some of your sovereign time back, whatever the case may be. So if you're kind of working to process what the experience has been, maybe just reflecting on the fact that time and the journey and going through the muck of situations, it's good and it's bad, right? I'm not trying to condemn it. I'm sorry, my experience recently was just really not great, but I'm not trying to make it all bad. That's just me. Don't take that. You don't have to take that part. But the point is that we have to go through it, right? So maybe you can just take some solace, some resolve, some comfort in you've gone through it. You're at the end of it, you're in the new chapter, you're out of the transition phase. And as you continue onward, keep your expectations high, create the vacuum for the universe to fill, and look at things from, I know it sounds cliche, but look at things from that positive perspective or expectation. All right, I'm going to use the Cosmic Tarot now. I'm just going to shuffle them. We got one on the floor already, two on the floor. And I usually think that means something, so I'm going to keep those. And just ask for 2 or 3 more cards. Oh, they really like the floor today. Right. I think there's a little tarot poem, if it's on the floor, something. I don't remember. Just seeing if there's anything else. All right. Wow. Okay. So we've got 5 cards here for the present challenge. And again, we're looking at this now from a hindsight perspective and how we can extract the gold. So let's look at what the challenge has been in the last chapter or season of your experience. And then we'll look at what the resolution was and, kind of continue from there. The first cards that came out were the Emperor and the Hanged Man. And I think that this speaks to potentially the challenge of ownership, the challenge of agency, the challenge of control in a sense, because if you're the Emperor, right, it's you have to keep your eyes on everything, you have to be involved in everything, you have to create boundaries, you have to create rules, you have to create leniency, you have to make decisions, you have to really own your world, for lack of a better way of putting it. And the Hanged Man speaks of a shift in perspective, of a need to, let's say, escape or visit these, escape as in shift your consciousness. It might have been hard for you to meditate. It might have been hard for you to calm down. It may have been hard for you to even visualize the other side of this chapter, or of getting through whatever you're getting through, because you're just so consumed by the physical, let's call it, or practical needs of what this experience is asking of you. So it might have been really challenging to, first of all, do it all and touch it all and be involved in all of it and remember all the things and really be the boss or be in charge of the situation. And it also seems like it might have been hard for you to find that time to relax, to pull back, to again, meditate, visualize, set time aside for your gratitude, or for the things that keep us balanced in a sort of spiritual sense. We then had the 2 cards came out. These now are in reversed, the 10 and 2 of Pentacles. And to me, this I think of kind of starting over. Some physical, something in the physical. This could be your savings, this could be a project, this could be a relationship, but some sort of physical element in your life reached an end, or reached as far as it can get. You know, maybe it's a position at work, or maybe it's the home that you lived in. It's as far as it's going to take you. You know, you have different needs now. Maybe it was a car. Maybe it was, you know, like some form of like strength training that you're doing. But it seems like you feel like you've sort of like hit an end or hit a plateau, or were put in a position where you needed to make a decision on like, now which way do I go, or like what's next for me, what's next after this job, what's next after this relationship, where does the path take me? And with these both being in reverse, it makes me think that this is sort of like an internal challenge that you've had to identify it, but also to process it, to feel it out, you know, to make the best decisions for yourself. I'll show you these cards again. Maybe there's an image that speaks to you. Again, these were in reverse, but so you can see them more clearly. There's sort of like a forlorn quality here in this card specifically. Like a feeling of unfulfillment. And you know, I read the tarot based off of like the card itself of the specific deck that I'm looking at, not like every 10 of Pentacles isn't the same to me, but there's some sort of like forlorn, like reflecting on how far you went at the gym, or you know, how far you got at work, or how much you saved, or all this improvement that you made. It seems like there's something kind of like upsetting to you as well, like feeling like you didn't have someone to share it with, or feeling like, okay, I did it, but I'm still not happy, I'm still not satisfied, like gotta do it again kind of feeling. And I think that with the, well, which way do I go now? Like what comes next? I think it's been hard for you to sort of tune into your heart space to figure out like what that looks like for you. You know, what shift is that? What change is there? Which path is right for me? Like which way do I go? And then we also have the 10 of Cups. And I think, going back to what I just said, I think that's because you've been so busy. Like you've been pulled in all directions. You've, again, had to have like your hands in everything. That it's kind of like chaotic, you know, it's kind of draining, you know, burn out. So when you don't have like your physical needs met, it can be harder to, you know, have that time to meditate and take care of yourself, and whatever that might be. That doesn't have to be just like meditation. That might be surfing, that might be walking, that might be cooking, that might be cleaning, that might be painting, right? But whatever you do to get into that sort of like receptive zone where you're just like in the zone, right? And again, like difficult to feel like in your heart what is right for you. There's also the 10 of Cups as the final card in this challenge position. And again, we have two 10s here. And to me, both of them have like a sort of forlorn, a sort of, I don't want to say, it's not exactly unfulfilled, but it's not exactly like, wow, I did it. So I think that there's been a struggle in, you've got your manifestation. It was really like a lot of work, right? You've made something happen. You've put a lot of energy into it, and it's not really feeling as good as you thought it might, right? Or it's not feeling great yet. I want to call you back to remember to allow time to be on your side and time to work with you, because things unfold differently through different times, different cycles. Things come together, right? Like it takes time to clean up the mess. It takes time to put things away. It takes time for things to feel real or feel normal or feel like reality, if I could put it that way. So, all right, we're gonna move into, well, let me leave these here actually. And let's see, I'm gonna use now the Mystic Mondays deck. Let me have a sip of my coffee. How lovely. And we're going to get some clarity here on the Emperor and the Hanged Man. Like, I don't really want clarity on what it is. I feel like the reading so far, I'm not like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, I kind of get it. I hope you kind of get it. But let's think now and ask, instead of clarity on like to define that more, okay, well, what is the goal of this? Or how did we resolve it? Or I don't know. I'm going to see what comes up, but I'm looking for something a little different. Not quite clarity, just more perhaps elaboration, which I guess is clarity. But more so, I want to see like, how can we, or what's a message for utilizing that, or for preventing that going forward, or for healing that, or what comes up? What else is there? All right, so we got 1, 2, they love the floor today. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's more than enough. All right. Don't know quite what order that was in. Sorry, I'm just like using a chair as a table here. All right, so we got the Star, the Aquarius card, and we got the 5 of Swords reversed. I think that a message to support the processing of what has been is that, you know, all experiences are different. And as we go through life, as we move through time, as we, you know, have more experiences, each one that you go through will be unique, even if it's the same thing, you know, like I had a pet. I loved him so very much. He crossed over. I have another pet. They are so different. The experience is so different. And while there's a core element, right, of like caring, of like being a protector, of being a guardian, of being able to shower love upon something, the experience itself and the lessons that I'm learning from Shoko are very different than the lessons I learned from Bamba. Sorry, I don't know why that popped into my head, but it did, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So whatever has been in the past season, even though you may have gone through it before, it's taught you something different, you know? It's pulled more light out of you, or different facets of yourself that you got to experience. So maybe we can hold some like gratitude or reverence for that in and of itself. We have the 5 of Swords, and I feel like this is a lesson that you've learned to, even if it's, whether it's hyper conscious, I don't think it would be hyper conscious considering it's in reverse. Like, I don't feel like you're hyper aware of this lesson exactly, but as I say that, it's like a, no, it is known, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna say it out loud and you're gonna be like, well, obviously, but even if we really know something, like something is fact, it doesn't necessarily mean that like we accept it and we put it into practice and we utilize it and we work off of it, you know? Like, it can be something really obvious and at the same time hard to put into practice, or that we forget to put into practice. We know that moving our bodies is like necessary to like move our lymph, to support blood flow, to strengthen our bones. It's helpful, it's necessary, but do we do it as much as we should, right? Like that kind of thing. Or you know what foods are good and bad for you, what gives you an upset stomach. I know that if I eat pineapple on an empty stomach, it hurts my stomach, and I'll still do it, right? Like, there's things that are known that we still don't like implement. So I think this is something that is known to you, and but not like super obvious in the consciousness yet, or in your like waking life yet. And that is just like how powerful your thoughts are and how they can cause great chaos and stress. And not just your thoughts, but like how you speak to yourself. You know, I think that there may have been an experience in the past chapter of your life where you may have been speaking to yourself more negatively, like more harmfully, saying things in absolutes, saying things to yourself like, they don't understand me, I never get what I want, this is always so hard, I have to do that, it's always me, I have to do it all myself. Like, that's what I'm talking about, like those kind of things that we say to ourselves. Whereas if you can turn that around and say, I got this will pass, you're okay, like, it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be okay, just do what you can, right? Like, what we say to ourselves inside is so for me, I know personally, so powerful. And when I'm like mad at someone or if I don't know, if I'm mad at a situation, or if I feel like I have to really be careful, because even though I know better, the thoughts that come in might be, I always have to do this myself. I have to do everything myself. It's always on me. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore, right? When it's like, no, stop. You're being dramatic, and that is true. If you need help, ask for help. Help is available, right? I can ask for help. They offer help. So I think that there's a lesson potentially of like reminding yourself of like, like practicing conscious awareness of your thoughts, and not even just your thoughts as in what you're thinking about, because that's important too. But I really feel like this has something to do with how we speak to ourselves, like the inner voice in our head. What is the mind like repeating? Is it being negative? Is it being cruel? Is it being, again, like too absolute? Because changing that makes a great deal of difference. All right. Okay, so we then got the Two of Wands also reversed. And I think this is a nod to like your contemplation of like your creative power, and that you do always have options. I feel like this though specifically is like options on how you show up. Options on your action, options on your reaction, options on if you let something get to you or if you don't, if you take that spark, that one thing that can set you off and you let it, or you think, of course, right, like how interesting, and turn the other cheek or turn it on itself somehow, or just like become unbothered. Again, better, easier said than done. But yeah, I think this is more of a experience internally of like learning your own power and learning your actions and your intentions too, on like what you want to create and how your actions align with that. As in, like, do I want to create a home of peace where everybody feels welcome, like everybody's like glad to be home, and there's good food and there's laughter and there's reassurance? Or is it going to be like stress, like my stress that spills over? Like, I have to be, I'm the mom, right? Like, I have to be mindful of that, and my actions influence that, right? So I think that there's a lesson regarding those kind of things. We also got the Devil in reverse, and again, I really feel like, right, the steps, I really feel like this is a nod to how our mind, like particularly the Devil in this one, it's like the ear, right, or the spine, even sort of like going through the steps, and the Devil representing like a lack of freedom, or a stagnancy, or a control, like a control, not having any control, sacrificing your control. I think that this specifically in this position here lends itself again to like what I was saying about like our thoughts and how we think. This is like the internal devil, right? The devil on your shoulder, the whispering in the ear, right? Leading us to speak to ourselves that way, to hold ourselves up, to talk ourselves out of the things we were motivated about, to prevent our growth essentially, or to even take steps backward. Again, this is getting a little elusive here. Maybe I will ask for some clarity. This is just going to be like a different reading than I typically do in style, because again, we're at the cusp, at the end here, and it's just different, right? So we're going to let it flow. Yeah, I think our thoughts, sorry for spacing out. I think this is again just reiterating how truly powerful your thoughts, your language, the paths that you follow in terms of like your inner dialogue, or the focus, like what you're focusing on, can be, so uplifting and so liberating, but they can also be so stagnating and so controlling and so harmful, detrimental to letting it all flow, letting the process like unfold. We also have the 9 of Cups in reverse. And I feel like this experience may have led you to feel sort of like reluctant to share. I think that you've been like really burnt out, to put it, in our typical terms, right? Like the battery is drained, like the cup is empty, like I have nothing left to give. And that may have even like harmed your relationships a little bit. I don't mean harmed like in a long-term way, but that can even, again, if we're like talking to ourselves in this way, we might be like more quick to talk more negatively or sharply, or rigidly. It's not really a great way to say that. Without like the back and forth, without the like a stubbornness, I guess, and a standoffishness is probably the way to say that. So I just feel like you've had very little to give of yourself, because something so practical, something so physical has been like really taking your entire focus, taking your physical energy, your mental energy. It's touching like emotional levels here. And it's just been harder to be patient. It's harder to share of yourself, to give, of your limitless love, or to give forgiveness, give patience, give like whatever you're used to giving, like energetically in your more loving relationships. Doesn't be like romantic love, but in like the loving relationships, parent-child, family, close friendships and things like that. And I feel like too, this may have halted you from like a creative level. Like you just haven't had the time, you haven't had the energy, you haven't had the inspiration. You've been all blocked up with the tasks at hand. And yeah, I think that there's potentially like a way we can work on that, and I don't mean to again be like cliche, but it starts with you, right? Like being able to prioritize the love you give to yourself, whether that is through like how you put your body lotion on, or how you make yourself a coffee and sit outside, or butterfly gardens, I don't know, whatever way you show love to yourself, show care through your words, through words of affirmation, through gratitude journals. Like again, we're all so different, so I'm just sharing some things that I like. You can probably have your own things, cooking yourself a great meal, maybe buying yourself a little treat, or getting yourself a book or something, like whatever it is. But the way you show love to yourself can be very like a catalyst, I guess you could say, or foundational when it comes to then being able to share more of your love, your creativity, your compassion and tenderness and joy, with others. Like you have to refill your cup. You have to. We also have the Death card as the final card in this little whole part. And I think that here it's, really affirming that this is past, and from now on, it is different. You are in a new life. you are in a new world. You are in the next chapter, right? So now let's pull some cards to describe or guide, provide any guidance for things to consider on the next chapter. And I'm going to go back now to the Cosmic Tarot. And I'm looking to just get 3 because I don't want to go too deeply, too much with it. So we're asking for 3 cards now that we are in the next chapter. Some guidance, some validation. They are just flipping out. Is this always how it goes? It's just because I don't have a table now? Okay, that's way too many. Sorry, thank you, but that's way too many. I'm really curious when I go and pull the audio files off of here how bad that noise is for you. I really hope it's just faint. Okay, can we get one more? Yes, okay. 1. And then these, interesting. We have the Prince of Cups, Scorpio, the 7 of Pentacles reversed, and the Prince of Swords reversed. So we have 2 princes and the 7. Okay, the Prince of Cups. So the new phase, I know it sounds goofy, but there's a level of like mystery here. There's something unfamiliar. Go figure, right? The next phase. And I feel like you're being drawn a little bit more now into the subconscious, into areas a little more taboo. And I don't mean that to be like, Kwan is running around. I don't mean that to be spooky. I just mean I think that because of this past season being so demanding of you physically, mentally, energetically, that you've kind of, I don't say neglected, but not been able to really like feed your soul in a more spiritual sort of sense. I feel like you may be really called to kind of go, I don't want to say extreme, but like really lean into maybe some ritual, maybe a practice, maybe some manifestations, maybe like a little magic, I do see the snake over here, which makes me think of Mercury. I know it is a Scorpio card, but it makes me think of Mercury, and it makes me think as well of like mystery, of communication, of art, of science, of alchemy, and even like a sort of like Kundalini sort of awakening sort of thing, which I don't personally practice that, so I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't know very much about it. Not from like an authentic, like real way to talk to you about it. But I think that your soul, sorry, my dog was barking, but I think you find your soul pulling you to a sort of like richness in a spiritual practice that might be committing to, I don't know, like a 21-day meditation or even a 3-day meditation. It might have you listening to more things online. It might make you watch more ASMR Reiki videos, but like there's something I feel like you're after to reclaim, you're after to reignite, you're after to feed more. And I think it's a little opposite of what you have just experienced, essentially. Oh, and like we're moving into Pisces season 2, which is super spiritual. We have the 7 of Pentacles reversed. And I, again, feel like in the past season, there's been a kind of like feelings of regret when we're looking on it hindsight, like, wow, like I could have handled that better. Wow, I kind of let my emotions get the best of me. Wow, I, didn't ask for help when I should have. Wow, I burnt myself out and now I have to catch up. Like, You know what I mean? Like whatever that might be. So I think that here in the next chapter, there's some guidance to like pick up the pieces, take what you have, and continue from there in a, you know, let it go, like let it go sort of sense. It is what it is. You've taken the gold, the lesson. Take what you can from this. You know, you did get through it. It might not have manifested the way that you wanted it to. It might not have been as smooth as you wanted it to. You may be lacking in the feeling of fulfillment that you thought you would have, right? Like it still might be a battle. But we're moving over to the Prince of Swords. This is your time to shift your thoughts. This is also the Aquarius, right? This is your time to shift your thoughts, to shift how you talk to yourself, to shift how you focus on things. Look at things from a different perspective. Appreciate the uniqueness in it all. That's so funny. Yeah, sorry. Ducks. The uniqueness. Sound your call. How you talk to yourself. Sorry, that took me out of it for a sec. Let me come back in. Yeah, like a fresh start, let's say, on the refinement of your, again, words, your thoughts, your focus, and to take it with a little bit of that like Aquarian energy, that even though we're going into Pisces season, even though, you know, Aquarius season is over, there's still, the energy is always there, right? As in, we can take inspiration from these, and these qualities do exist within ourselves and within our consciousness of like new, different, unique, revised, expanded, shaking it up, like ways of communicating, ways of creating, ways of crafting your thoughts and focus. Sorry, I got a little loosey at the end there. I think you're going to be drawn to some real spiritual work that's gonna look very different for all of us. But I think you've been sort of starved of it, and I think you're going to be really pulled to connect with that again, and whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you'll take a Reiki class. I think that you got through the past experience. You got through it. Take what you have, like take the wins, take what you preserved, take that you got through it, and carry on, carry on, of course. Let go of, the things that have weighed you down. Let go of what was broken, what doesn't work for you, and move on to this point of being able to use your focus, your thoughts, your words, your intentions, and this like visionary or just like different, sorry for like my terrible vocabulary here, but just a different way of perceiving and a different way of expressing and a different way of focusing that is most aligned to you. And I think that spiritual connection that you have, and how it like really, there's like a little pocket over the heart, I guess you could say. Would that be the heart? Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's the heart side. Yeah, it is. Like reconnecting with your heart through that spirituality and like letting that guide you. I think that's the best I can give you. I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm gonna say goodbye to you here, and if you are in Patreon or members, thank you so much. I am so grateful to you, and I'm gonna put that as a separate video for you, okay, so you can see it soon in the Patreon or members section. Thank you so very much. I love you so much. I'm sending you so much love and warm wishes and best intentions. Of course, we'll have an ASMR style session to follow to pair this together, and I hope that you enjoy. All right, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.